Already mic testing, mic testing. Okay, let me go to my main camera. Already we're live, and as you guys can tell by the title, today I'm going to be going over game logic in Unreal Engine 5 using C++. That said, last stream I did go over making meshes in Blender. I did actually work on making a pretty good mesh that is pretty incomplete. I will be working on that next Tuesday. That said, hiding logs here. Appreciate you joining this stream. Okay, and today basically what I want to do is that since I do have an exam I think next week as well, I am going to be working on my summoning logic and chasing logic. Then later on I will move on to adding health bars and working on game UIs. That's where I'm going to be working mostly with like blueprints and all that stuff. That said, did I go to my gameplay screen? Okay, let's go to my gameplay screen. There we go. And guys, this is like a pretty old chat from like Gemini, ad range. Oh, it's Claude's chat. There we go. Okay, it's a pretty old chat from Claude. That's let's say something like say I'm live exclamation. Let's go with something like say I'm live exclamation. Okay, let's see. Honestly, I might go with something like I want to work on making mini projects in UE5 in Unreal Engine 5. I know how to, let's say, summon objects, work with key controls. Let's add it. Parentheses and say something like enhanced key controls. Okay, and things at that level. Okay, let's see. Really, wow, that actually sounds kind of cool. Okay, guys, I feel like I gotta work on my type with enhanced Z key controls. That's it, Art, you're back. Welcome. So today you want to build mini projects to practice what you know. That's smart. Building small, complete things is how you actually learn. Okay, here's what you need to know. Spawning objects / actors, enhance input systems, key controls, basic character movement, input binding actions. That's a solid foundation. Mini projects ideas for your level. Project 1, simple spawner game, recommended to start. Press key to spawn different colored cubes. Okay, each cube falls due to gravity, so I would need to on physics for this or enable physics for this. Count how many you spawned. UI text. Okay, clear all button. I see, so I can like destroy everything from my window. Project target 2, spawn targets that appear randomly. Click to shoot. Raycast from camera. I might work on this. This is fun. Spawn targets that appear randomly. Click to shoot. Okay. Project 3, controller objects spawn collectible items around the map, walk over them to collect. Okay, UI shows collection count, you win message, all detected. Honestly, I might really do that, but I'll go from Project 1. So, Project 1 is simple spawner game. This is the stuff that I really worked on with how to summon objects. Although, I haven't worked on clearing them. Clearing them, basically what this means is like I summon an object, and before I summon my second object, I want to kind of destroy my first object, if that makes any sense. So let's kind of work on that. I'm going to go ahead and open my Unreal Engine real quick because I want to use a new project for this. Okay, let's see. Okay, while the Unreal Engine opening, guys, today I was pretty prepared. I did get some water with me. Let me actually get my Unreal Engine up here. There we go. While it's opening, I might drink some water because I'm pretty thirsty. Okay, let's see. Honestly, one thing, the one annoying thing about Unreal Engine is that it takes really long to open for some reason. Let's see. Okay, while it's opening, let me say something like, say, okay, I'll start by working on the first project. Okay, so I'm gonna start with like the first project and then I'm gonna move on until the fifth project if I had time, because the only thing that's going to take a bit long is me adding my movement to my player just for the first project, and then after that I can use that the class where my player can actually move to add these other contents as well. Okay, that's it. Okay, it says warning, low driver space. Hold up, guys, am I out of space? Like what? Let me just go ahead and check something like storage. Okay, Unreal does open. Okay, sure. Wow. Since when did my space get full? Guys, okay, this is something new. How did my space get full? I thought that I had like a lot of space. I have 3 GB left. Okay. I guess documents takes most of my spaces, so I guess gotta clear some of my Unreal Engine's documents. I mean, it's not that my project is not open, it does open, but like, I have a bunch of projects here. They might be eating up most of the space. And I'm not going to be using 6 and all these projects. I can delete them. Let's go ahead and delete them all. Okay, let's see. Yeah, they're definitely the one that takes all these space up. Oh, it's actually kind of crazy that my space was full. Like, that's the first time that I've actually seen that happen. Okay, let's kind of delete the 2 of these as well, because I might not need them, and that's about it. Now, let's check the storage again. Let's see if, like, my projects were really the thing that were, like, hogging most of the space. I mean, somewhat, yeah. At least I've got 41 gigabytes left now. Okay, that's it. Let's create a new project from Unreal Engine. I'm gonna go with a blank C++ project called something like, let's go with mini project. There, I'm gonna be adding multiple mini projects in this one. Projects I wouldn't have to always work on adding different contents, unless I could have just created 2 different maps. Okay, so it's creating project, generating project files. While it's generating the files, I'm gonna get Claude here, and let's say something like, let's say, while my file is generating, let's go with something like generating. Can you tell me what all is recommended for the project 1 question mark? I mean, I do kind of know what all might be recommended. For example, I might need enhanced inputs and like a summon function, destroy function when I summon an object, add on screen debug message for like letting my player know how many characters I spawned, if a character has been spawned or like destroyed. That said, good. Using that loading time wisely. Project 1 requirements and recommendations. What you'll need: C++ classes, a spawnable cube, the cube actor that gets spawned. Okay, your player character class to handle inputs and spawning. Unreal assets, input mapping context for enhanced inputs. Okay, input actions. For keys 1, 2, 3 are material, red, green, blue. Okay, we'll make these simple. UMG, widgets, blueprint. I have not worked with widgets and blueprints that much, but I did like have a stream where I did work with them partially, but not that much. Concepts, you'll practice spawning actors dynamically. T array. So this is, I'm assuming, the template for my array of subclass of storing references or spawn actors. Okay, so materials and settings and setting them in code. Physics simulation, enable gravity, UMG, basic UIs, destroy, cleanup. Recommended approach, don't overthink it, start simple. Get 1 cube spawning first, then add colors, then add counting, then clear function, then finally add UIs. Okay, I guess let's go step by step. So my Unreal Engine opens. Let's go ahead and grab this here. How many gigabytes do you have? Honestly, I have like 465 or something like that. I just showed you guys, but I kind of forgot. Okay, it's around that number. Okay, hold up guys, maybe I'm gonna go ahead and get Claude here because I just want to set my Unreal Engine. Right there, whoops. Okay, let's go all the way up here, and then I'm gonna kind of get this all the way up here as well, and then extend it from the top and the bottom. There we go. Okay, now in my Untitled project, I'm gonna go ahead and create a new project. I'm gonna go with a basic project, there we go. And a really important thing, I'm gonna go ahead and just save it all. Let's name it something like, new map does sound pretty appropriate here. There, now once I'm done with my map, the next thing that I might want to do is create a class for spawning. So I'm going to go to something like tools. I'm going to go to new class. I'm going to create a character class. Before I go with a class that spawns others, I want to go with a class that is my actual character who's going to be actually spawning new objects. I'm going to name this something like player. Or instead of player, go with something like Alex. Guys, I don't really know good names. Let's go with something like Alex. There we go. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and create a class. Now, it's adding the code to project. Let's wait for it to add real quick. Okay. Guys, honestly getting pretty hot here. Let me get a bit in front. There we go. Okay, so it's adding code to my project. I'm going to go ahead and exit this and reload all. Firstly, I'm going to go ahead and let's say I want to go ahead and add movement to my Alex or my player. So I'm going to work on that first. Therefore, in my header files, I'm going to declare the basic things that later I will be defining in my C++ file. For example, well, man, can I ask you what setup you have? I want to start streaming and I wonder what setup can I have? honestly, I just have like a basic webcam. It's like a Logitech's webcam and like two monitors in the front and a PC in the left side. Or like you guys could like keep the PC anywhere. But the basic things that I do use is like a color mic, a webcam, two monitors, one for reading chat, one for actually programming, a keyboard, a mouse, and a PC. That's like pretty basic. If you guys do want to see the setup that I had it in my old apartment, make sure that you guys check out my video where I actually showed you guys when I was actually building my PC. I compared my old setup with my new setup, and now I have a whole different setup. So I would need to like make a separate video for this as well, maybe after my college. Okay, that's it, and happy coding, man. That actually sounds pretty cool. Okay, that's it. Let's go and declare a few classes. For example, for my character, I want my character to be able to see stuff, or let's say, yeah, I want him to be able to see stuff. So I might need something like a camera component. So I'm going to go ahead and create class or declare a class called something like uCamera component. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and let's say end it with a semicolon. Okay, I would need a use spring arm component as well, because if you guys have worked with Unreal Engine, let's go with component. You guys would know basically what camera component and spring arm components basically are. Camera component is the actual camera, which I'm going to be using instead of having literal eyes in the program. And I'm going to be using the spring arm component for making the camera a bit more flexible when it rotates and all that stuff. Camera component is basically a camera boom, a selfie stick. That said, once I'm done adding these two things, I'm going to go all the way, let's say, down under my begin play and add a comment called something like camera boom. This is where I'm going to go ahead and define a few U properties. So my Unreal actually knows that I want to give my camera boom or my spring arm component these certain properties. For example, I want my camera boom, which is my spring arm component. Let me make it clear here. Let's go with something like spring arm component. Spring arm component. There we go. I want my camera boom to firstly be visible anywhere. visible, anywhere. I want to be able to see it anywhere. I want my camera boom to be blueprint read only, because I do want to really edit it through my blueprint, because I am editing it through my program here or through C++. And then I want my category. I want to organize it in a category called something like camera. And that's pretty much it for adding a U property, which means letting my Unreal Engine know that it really created the camera and like I want these attributes to be set to it. Then I'm going to go ahead and copy my U spring arm components as class. Okay, and represent it by a pointer called something like camera boom. Okay, that's pretty much it for my camera boom. Now I'm going to add another comment called something like follow camera. Let's go with something like follow camera. For my follow camera, I'm going to go ahead and create another U property where I want my follow camera, which is my literal camera component, to be visible anywhere. Let's go with visible anywhere. I want it to be blueprint read only. I only want my blueprint to be able to read my follow camera. And lastly, I want my category. I want to organize it in a category called something like camera. Okay, and then I'm going to do the same exact thing as I did with my spring arm component. I'm going to copy my uCamera components and paste it here. And let's say represent it using a pointer called something like follow camera. The reason I call it follow camera is because my camera component follows my spring arm component around. Okay, that's it. Now, once I'm done with this, is there anything else that I might need? Since I can't think of anything else, I'm going to hit Control S to save the code. And guys, ignore the red underlines. It is kind of annoying. I spelled category wrong. There. category. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go in my C++ file. In my C++ file, I'm going to include a few header files for both my camera component and my spring arm component, because the reason I created empty class in my header file is just for initialization, actually not initialization, declaration, and I'm going to define them in my C++ file. For example, for my spring arm component, I'm going to go with something like include something from my game framework. What do I want to include from my game framework? I want to include my spring arm component, my spring arm components as header files. Okay, once I'm done with that, what else do I want to include? Let's go ahead and include something from my camera. I want to go ahead and include my camera components as header files. There we go. These are the two files that consist of these actual classes, which do have literal content inside of them. Now, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and use a constructor to construct my follow camera and my spring arm components. my follow camera and my camera boom in my Unreal Engine's level. And guys, I feel like I made that sound way too complicating. But it's honestly pretty easy. I'm going to create a few default sub-objects. Firstly, let's go with camera boom. My camera boom is going to go ahead and point towards, or let's say be equal to, a create default sub-objects template. Now, inside my pair of ankle braces, I'm going to require a parameter of my use spring arm component. Because my camera boom is basically my spring arm, so I'm going to go with something like use spring arm component. There we go. Okay, once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and maybe fix my typo. Spring arm component. There. And then I'm going to go ahead and add a pair of parentheses. I'll go with a text. What do I want my camera boom to be called inside of my Unreal Engine's outliner? I want it to be called camera boom, so I'm going to go with camera boom. There we go. Okay, now once I'm done with this, I'm going to go ahead and firstly end this with a semicolon. And then point my camera boom towards a setup attachment. And here's the thing, many of you guys might not be using this method to really, or I wouldn't say many, I'd say like some of you people would not be using this method for actually setting up an attachment, in this case of root components. Okay, or even creating a default sub-object through programming. Excuse me guys. What up, let me actually go to my OBS real quick. Guys, I think I just nodded all over. Already mic testing. Okay, perfect, guys. I guess I was just daydreaming. That's let's see. Although I did open a bunch of Outlook tabs up here. There we go. Okay, so where was I? Many of you guys would be actually doing all this stuff using you guys' Unreal Engine. There we go. So in the Unreal Engine, I could have just gone to my regular classes, right-clicked and created a blueprint class, and I could have done the exact same thing in my blueprint. But I prefer doing it using code for some reason. It's kind of fun. Okay, and then I'm gonna go with something like my camera boom. Here we go. Okay, I'm gonna go with something like my camera boom, which points towards, I have a setup attachment, I have a create default sub object. What else would I need? Since I'm working with a spring arm component, I might need a target arm length. This basically means how far do I want my camera to be from my actual player. Okay, so I'm gonna set this to be something like 200.f ending with a semicolon. 200 units away from my player. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and point my camera boom towards, let's say something like, I don't know, let's think. Setup attachment, no. I might want to go with a Boolean check of use pawn control rotation. Pawn control rotation. I'm going to go ahead and set that equal to true because I want to go ahead and rotate around, I guess, using my pawn. I actually forgot the explanation for this part here. Okay, use pawn control rotation. If the component is placed on a pawn, should it use its view/control of the pawn when possible? When disabled, the component will revert to using the store relative rotation of the component. Note that this component itself does not rotate, but instead maintains its relative rotation to its parent as normal as the responsibilities and rotates its children as desired by the inherited rotation. I see. Settings. Use get target rotation if you want. Oh, I see. Okay, get target rotation if you want the rotation target based on these settings. Use pawn control rotation, inherit pitch, etc. I see. So basically, later when I'm going to be adding an auto possess AI type stuff, I think the reason I see from my actual camera's point of view instead of my general camera that Unreal Engine gives us when we run the program, I think this is why I can actually see from my camera's point of view when I set my auto pawn possessed to be player 0 from disabled, if that makes any sense. Okay, that's it. Once I'm done with this, I'm going to do the same thing for my follow camera as well, which in this case, it's my camera component. I'm going to set my follow camera equal to a create default sub object. Okay, create default sub object is template, which requires a parameter of my uCamera component. Okay, where I'm going to go ahead and add a text called something like camera boom. Let's go with something like camera boom. Okay, and then let's end this with a semicolon. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to go with something like follow camera is going to be equal to, actually it's going to be pointing towards a setup attachment. I'm going to go with something like a setup attachment. Okay, which is going to be, let's say something like my camera boom. And why did I go with camera boom and not a root component? Well, because I want my camera to be stuck to my spring arm component, which is my camera boom. So to do that, my camera must be a child of my spring arm component, if that makes any sense. And then I'm going to go with something like a follow camera again that points towards a B hue spawn control rotation, which in this case, it's going to be equal to false. And again, I don't really know the full explanation for this part. Let's just copy and paste it for avoiding typo. There we go. Okay, ending with a semicolon. Now, if I were to go ahead and hit Control S to save the code, and let's say get my Unreal Engine here, in my Unreal Engine, firstly, I want to go ahead and load in my files. So I'm going to go to Content. Okay, let's kind of, excuse me guys, select those and kind of load these in. These are the Blender meshes and UIs that I made in general for my programs. Okay, there we go. My basic game items, where I'm going to go to something like C/C++ classes, double click that, bring my Alex down here. And let's see, do I really have a really good looking mesh? Okay, so let's go in front. Whoops, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to go to something like content. I drag my Alex here. I'm going to go ahead and click it. Maybe extend that a little there. Now let's go ahead and click Alex. I'm going to click the plus icon in my details panel and add a static mesh. Here's the thing, I could do this exact same thing using code, but I feel it's much easier if I do it using my details panel, because if I were to do this in code, I had to create another static component or another uProp, or I had to create another default object for my use static mesh component, if that makes any sense, because I'm loading a static mesh right now, and U stands for Unreal, so Unreal is a static mesh component. Let's go with something like Lisa underscore body. Okay, I forgot. Lisa does not really have a head. I mean, it's fine. Okay, tell me what big games were you making by Unreal Engine? I wouldn't say it's anything that big for now because I'm just learning the basics. I do want to like work on projects, but I don't want to like work on really advanced projects right now without knowing the basics, because I would like get stuck really bad in that case. So I was actually working on learning the basics. Once I'm done with that, I think I have like 96 more days left for my this series to get over. I think it's day 157. By the end of the day 250, I need to have a lot of meshes and learn these basic concepts and like kind of apply them together type stuff. That's it. I do gotta work on adding my, oh, guys can't phrase. I think, yeah, I gotta work on adding my pseudocode or getting my pseudocode done. So let's go with W. Let's get this lower. Okay, because I'm positive like once my college is over, I'll have much more time, but I don't think that I think my series is going to be long over before my college ends, because I think college is there for like 3 more months and the series is going to end like in 2-ish months. I gotta fact check that though. I mean, I don't think that this object looks that good here. Okay, maybe I want to go ahead and change my static mesh. I'm gonna go with something like Alex, and then let's go all the way down here. Do you guys see a static mesh? I see a skeletal mesh. I'm gonna scroll all the way down here till my static mesh and kind of just replace my mesh here. Instead of having a Lisa body, Mage 1, nope. Okay, I have meat, I have a camera. I mean, they all look good to be honest. Let's see, who might I wanna add? What is this? Alright, Unreal does give us so many things, but I kind of like making my stuff. So, okay, that's an invisible pivot point. Okay, should I go with something like LUCY, Lucy? Okay. I mean, honestly, I think like the clothes look much better than the actual component. Alright guys, let me really open my Microsoft Edge here real quick. I'm going to go to desktop. I'm going to go to something like Blender items. Actually, let's go to something like banner items, Blender meshes. There. I'm going to go ahead and open my Lucy's mesh here real quick, because I might join everything. There we go. I want to just go ahead and join everything and import it, because I feel like the join version is going to be so much better. And while I'm at this, and guys, I know this isn't supposed to be a... Let's go with A. Alright guys, there. Tab, there. Why do I see blue lines here? Yeah, and guys, I know this wasn't supposed to be like, subdivision modifier, there. Hold on, give me a sec, guys. Try now. Get this done. Why did my Blender crash? Is that storage? Okay, I keep forgetting what I want to say. Kind of exhausted. Let's think. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, this isn't really a Blender stream, but I do want to get my Lucy in with like these skins up as well. Something is wrong up here. Let's kind of close the program. That's honestly pretty strange. My Blender never crashes. It's probably because of the space. I'll have to like transfer some things. But up, let's go ahead and open that again. I'm gonna go to desktop. Let's go to something like Blender, not Blender items. I keep going with Blender items. Blender meshes. I'm gonna go with something like Lucy_blend. And there. Now let's go ahead and get this here. Why do I see those blue outlines? Okay, let me go ahead and add a modifier. I'm going to add a subdivision modifier. Is it that my subdivision modifier really glitched my program? I think it is, because it kind of glitched again. Or crashed again. It's definitely my subdivision modifier. Why though? Okay, guys, I feel like everything I do these days requires some kind of debugging to it. Fine, I guess instead of Lucy, I'm gonna go with Lisa. Okay, so this is my mesh. This was actually one of the best meshes that I've made so far. Although it's not the best mesh, because the mesh that I was working on like yesterday, last stream, that was like much better. So let's go here. I'm gonna go ahead and add a modifier for subdivision. Oh, this already has subdivision. Okay. Whoa. Alright guys, that's a lot of subdivision. I gotta decrease it to something like 2. How does that lag so much though? Wait, if I get closer. Nope. Okay, what if I go with this? 1. I think it looks like much better without the subdivision modifier. Okay, well, I guess I'll use this mesh instead. Do I have it saved? Okay, let's try check if I've got this mesh saved. Okay, let me go ahead and find something like Lisa. I'm gonna go with something like Lisa. Okay, I do have it saved. I guess that fixes a lot of things. Let's go with something like don't save. Okay, and while I'm at this, I want to kind of show you guys what I worked on yesterday. So let's go with something like desktop, Blender meshes. Okay, so yesterday what I worked on was, let's see, I think it was like a female warrior. There we go. But I did not have time to kind of complete this. I'm going to work on this next stream. I'd say this is by far one of the best meshes that I've made. Besides the hand, I think like I kind of messed up on my arms section and I did not really smooth it out, but I will be smoothing it out and later adding a hole for my head and then bringing a capsule in. But I think in terms of the anatomy, it looks pretty good. It's not like static or anything. That is because I added subdivision. This just makes me want to start modeling more now. But I guess I'm gonna hold myself a bit back. I'm gonna go with don't save. Okay, I'll kind of hold myself back and not do it for now. Okay, that said, let's stick to the goal. I'm gonna go ahead and grab my static mesh, get it a bit in front. Wait, am I going backwards? Hold up, guys. Let me get this a bit in front. There we go. Okay, I want my let's get this here. There, let's click something like R to kind of scale myself because I want my Lisa R. This looks like an Among Us character. I want it to be facing where my pivot point is facing. In case you guys can't see this blue color line here, it's that. I'm gonna go with something like E to rotate. I want to rotate myself 90 degrees. Okay, and then I'm going to click something like W, get myself in front. There we go. Okay, let me kind of fix my positioning a bit. There, let's get myself a bit in front and then move myself inside the capsule. Okay, just gonna do my best to get myself in the capsule. If I can kind of see myself here. Let's go a bit back, a bit lower, behind, and there. Okay, I think that's good. I'm mostly inside the capsule and I see my pivot point here as well. Whoops. There, so that's my pivot point. Can I not see the pivot point? There we go. That's my pivot point as well. Okay, now let me go ahead and extend my details panel again. I'm gonna go ahead and click the instance of my Alex. Type something like possess. I'm gonna set the possess to be player 0, and that's basically about it. Let's hit Ctrl Alt F11 to compile the code. Once I compile the code and I run the program, I will be seeing stuff from my Alex's camera, if that makes any sense. Build veiled. Edit modifier, visible anywhere, found tracing. Oh, I think I had a typo in visible anywhere. Let's go to my header files again. VISIBLE, visible anywhere, and then let's hit save. There, guys, it's mostly the typos that kind of messes up. Let's try compiling the code real quick. This time it should say results succeeded. Okay. There we go, results succeeded. Now that it's done succeeding, if I were to run the program, did I forget to add a camera? Okay, wait, let's send and restart. I think I know where I messed up. It's a very basic thing. Okay, guys, opening Unreal Engine again real quick. That's camera, boom. Let me check everything up here real quick. Okay, I want to go ahead and select all and restore selected. Falling assets could not be successfully checked. Revision control. There, let's wait for it to compile again. There we go. Okay, and guys, most of it might be because of my space as well, because I don't really have that much space. Gotta work on transferring my stuff up. I don't know how my space get filled though. Maybe because of all the bajillion Unreal projects that I had. There. Now I'm going to click content. I'm going to double click my map. In my map, I don't see my classes here. So if we ever don't see that, we got to go ahead and compile our code through our Visual Studio. Okay, let's wait for it to compile real quick. There we go. Now this opens my Unreal Engine. This time I will be able to see my classes. Okay, although there's one annoying thing. Okay, let's send and restart. Did I mess up? Let me think while I'm actually waiting for this to load. I need move, send and restart, fine. Let's think. Okay, so I see that. Okay, I guess I gotta build my project. Let's go ahead and build the solution. Okay, so I have those things. I just want to add a camera for now. Speaking of camera, did you guys really see a camera when I was doing this stuff? Let's run the code again. There we go. Let's kind of wait for this to open. Ken, did you guys see the camera though? It might be because I did not add a camera. Let's read the crash. Okay, we're very sad. Oh, sorry, blah, blah, blah. Crash, code, errors. Okay, bug submission form, send and restart. Let's restart it. Okay. Guys, this is the first time that I've got an error in such an easy thing. Okay, might be because I'm just way too exhausted right now. Okay, let's think. What is something that I did not do and something that I should have done? In my Alex, I have my classes declared here. I have those. I don't have a move function or C++, blah, blah. I have camera components, bring arm components. Okay, this should be pretty much enough for me being able to see my camera. Fine, I'm gonna go to project. Let's build solution. I want to go ahead and clean solution first. Let's go ahead and clean it. because there is no error. I didn't get like a single error. Gonna go with something like build. Let's rebuild solution. Okay, let's see. Okay, this is more like the tedious things trying to debug this. This is one of the easiest parts up here. There's no way I actually did something that messed this part up. Okay, let's see. Need to wait for myself to see a camera. Wait, is it still rebuilding? Pretty sure it is. Okay, let's wait for it to be done. Okay, how doing? Say, is that your name? I appreciate you joining the stream. That's it. Maybe I drink some water. I'm kind of thirsty. I think the rebuilding is almost done as well. There we go. It keeps saying everything has succeeded, so it's definitely something that I messed up in my Unreal Engine. Okay, let's run the program again. There we go. Positive this shouldn't give me a crash now. Well, it still gives me a crash reporter, like, what? Okay, blah blah, kernel, all that stuff. Fine, I guess I'm gonna exit this. I'm gonna open my Solution Explorer, go to Documents, go to Unreal Engine. I'm gonna go to something like my mini project and kind of remove my intermediate. Oops, I'm gonna double click this. I'm gonna delete my intermediate. You will need to provide administrate. Continue, fine. Try again. Well, fine, I guess I'm gonna remove the saved. Let's remove the binaries. And then the intermediates. You need to provide administrator permission to delete this folder. I could have deleted it easily before. Well, I guess it's fine. I'm going to right click this. I'm going to go with something like show more options. Right click, show more options. Generate Visual Studio. Let's generate my Visual Studio projects. Because I'm positive everything is kind of correct in here. All about that, I'm going to go to my content drawer. I have my Blender FBX files, all these files. I have my new maps. Okay, now let's run our program. Okay, I've probably cleared like a bunch of things. The thing is, I don't have any error. It's my Unreal Engine that's kind of tweaking. Because it says everything has been succeeded. Well, it still says again. Okay, I guess the only logical thing to do in that case is to delete all this. Camera components, bring our components, gonna delete all this. Header files, gonna delete them, gonna delete that. Okay, and then I'm gonna build. It's just removing the code and building. If something is still wrong, it's definitely the Unreal Engine that's kind of messed up for some reason. Maybe because it could be because of the space. Okay, let's see. And guys, it's so hot here right now. Kind of burning. There we go. Well, there is no more crash reporter, so it was not a space issue. That's strange. Okay, let's get this here. Guys, it's so hot right now. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna go to my content drawer. And why am I wearing sweaters? This is what I wore in my college. Hit Control Z, Control Z. Guys, this is I would say it's easy to really good IQ up here. With Control Z. Just gonna get my content back in here. Then I'll hit Control S. Now let's get Unreal Engine back here. What is something that I might need? Like, if I were to click my Alex, there is no camera. There we go, there's no camera. Maybe because I gotta go with Control Alt F11 to compile my code. Oh, I see what might have gotten me an error. Did I really forget to compile my code? How do I run into a crash every time I compile my code? I know how. Okay, well, I guess let's go with the Other option, let's go with Control Shift Z's, then Control Shift Z's. Fine, I guess I'll go with the other option. Let's go ahead and build. Okay, I guess I'm gonna add inputs as well. I wanted to go like one step at a time, but apparently that does not work. Okay, let's go ahead and run the project. This is gonna open Unreal Engine. Guys, I'm actually losing stamina by the second for some reason. Quite exhausting. Okay, there we go. Okay, guys, I'm actually not gonna get a crash again, because the last time I got a crash was most likely because I just tried accessing my camera using auto pawn possess or auto possess player to be set to player 0 without really having a camera. Okay, let's go there. Let's go to new map. Gonna go with Control Shift C. Actually, let's go with Control Shift C. There. Okay, Control C, Control Shift C, hit Control S. Everything does not look good here. Control C. Category spelled correct. Gonna hit Control S to save the code. Let's go with Control Z. There. Okay, perfect. Now, before I really do anything much with my Unreal Engine, I'm firstly gonna right click here, add a new folder called something like input. Let's work on my inputs too. Where I'm gonna go ahead and add a few action inputs. For example, I'm gonna go with something like input action. This is gonna be called something like IA_move because I want to be able to move around. And then I'm gonna go ahead and add another input action. Let's go with something like action. Call something like IA_look, which is going to be my look action. And then I'm going to add another input action called something like IA_RMB. This is just a bit more preference related stuff because I want to only rotate when I click my right mouse button, if that makes any sense. And guys, why am I so sleepy? Well, maybe because I didn't get enough sleep. Okay, that's it. Let's see. I wish I had my coffee. I'll need some apples maybe. There we go. And then I would need an input mapping context called something like IMC_default, where I'm going to double click this. And this is something that I'm going to be needing a lot because I'm going to go ahead and click plus for my mapping, click plus here as well. I'm going to go ahead and add a mapping for my IA_move, where I'll need 4 key checks. I want to move if I hit W, I want to move backwards if I hit S, I want to move to the left if I hit A, and I want to move towards the right if I hit D. Now, since I want to move forward when I click W, I want to forward. Moving in front is basically me moving in the Y-axis, and whenever you need access to the Y-axis, we must add a modifier called... Alright guys, there we go. Call this input access value. This gives me access to move in the Y-axis. Now, I want to move backwards. Moving backwards is exactly the same as moving forwards, but in a negative direction. So, I want to move in the Y-axis. I'm going to add a modifier of my Swiss input access value. But this is in a positive direction that I'm moving. I'm going to go ahead and add another Swiss input access value for... did I add a wrong one here? There we go. Okay, for my negate, let's add a negate. Negate basically means negative value. Okay, once I'm done with S, I'm gonna go with A. Now, my A and my D is going to be in charge of me moving either in the left or in the right. When I click A, I want to move in the left. So, I will be needing a modifier of negate. So, I'm going to add negate here because I want to move left. Left is basically negative directions. Right is positive directions. Although negate is basically the only modifier I'm going to be needing, because if we didn't add any kind of Swiss input axis value, for example, for moving in the y-axis, by default, we do move in the x-axis. So I would only need a modifier for changing my positive direction to be a negative direction. That's done by the negate modifier. And I'm really exhausted. Okay, once I'm done with that, I'm going to go ahead and click plus, where I'm going to go with IA underscore look. For my look action, I want to go ahead and look towards the left or towards the right based on where my mouse moves in the x-axis, and I want to go ahead and look up or down based on where my mouse moves in the y-axis. That is about it, right? I think that's about it. In my content, I just have one for left, right, and RMB. So I'm going to go ahead and add another mapping for my RMB action. Let's go ahead and set this to something like IA underscore RMB, which is initiated when I go ahead and click my right mouse button. There. Now, with that said, I'm going to save the code first. It's very important to save the code. I've made the mistake so many times of not saving my code. Ended up kind of regretting it. And I'm kind of exhausted, honestly. Alright, once I'm done with that, I might actually go ahead and declare a few more empty classes. For example, I might go with something like a uInput action class. There we go. Okay, and then I might need another class for my uInput mapping context. And here's the thing, it's not really necessary or like compulsory to really create these empty classes there for all. I know I could have just included. Excuse me, guys. I think I chewed really quickly. And guys, if my commentary is kind of dead right now, it's because I'm way too exhausted. I might just stream for like I think 12 more minutes, because I do gotta like study for different subjects as well. I do got a programming exam coming up. Although that said, so I forgot, where was I at again? Okay, so I could have just included header files for all these things, but the reason I create classes and don't really include the header files is because our header files is just meant for declaration. So our compiler or whatever our interpreter is, I think in Python we use interpreter. So like compiler is basically a thing that translates our source code to like machine code and all that to ones and zeros. I think that's binary. Machine code might be something else. Fact check me on that. That said, I'm gonna go ahead and our compiler, it goes through our header files first to just see what all exists in our program. Then later it goes over our C++ file, which is mostly the definition that is way heavier than the header files. So yeah, that's like about it. That's the reason we just declare stuff in our header files here. Okay, so I would need input action, I would need input mapping context. What else would I need? I might need something like a structure, so I'm gonna go with something like a structure, struct, a structure for my, let's say something like f. F is basically prefix for like structures. I'm gonna go with something like input action value. Let's go with input action value. Let's go with something like action value. Basically what the input action value really is, input action value gives me whatever value I get when I click my keys, either W, A, S, or T. In this case, even like my RMB and all that stuff is either going to give me a positive value or a negative value, which later I could use to like utilize and like kind of tell my player which way he needs to turn around, which way they got to move, which way they got to do something else type stuff. Okay, and that's pretty much it. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to create a bunch more U properties. For example, I'm going to go ahead and create a U property for, let's say, my move action. Because I want to go ahead and move around. Move action. ECTION. Now, for my move action, I'm going to go ahead and add a U property here. PROPERTY. Where I want my move action to be edited anywhere. I want to be able to edit it anywhere, including my blueprints, including my blueprints or my details panel. I want it to be blueprint read only. I only want my blueprint to be able to read my move action, not fully edited. Lastly, I want... Why did I say only read? Wouldn't the edited make me set it so I could edit it anywhere, including the blueprints. A tiny detail, I'll ask like Claude later on. I'm gonna go with something like category, category, which is gonna be equal to something like input. Okay, and then I'm gonna go ahead and use my uInput action, okay, which is going to be represented by a pointer called something like move action, ending with a semicolon. Now, just to save time, I'm going to go ahead and copy this, paste one for my look action, paste one for my RMB action. This is going to be look, excuse me guys, that is going to be look action. This is going to be look action. This is going to be RMB action. That is going to be RMB action, RMB action. And then once I'm done adding these basic U properties that I might need, I'm gonna add a comment that says something like functions. Maybe I might go with something like button check functions. For my button check functions, I'm gonna go ahead and let's say create a void function. Actually, before a void function, I might go with something like a Boolean variable. I might go with something like Boolean checks. There. For my Boolean checks, I'm going to go ahead and have a Boolean variable called something like Boolean of is RMB pressed. I'm going to create a variable that checks if my RMB is currently being pressed. Initially, I'm going to set it to be false. Because when I start my program, I don't want my right mouse button to really be pressed. I only want it to be pressed while I press it. And then I'm going to add another comment called something like functions, where I'm going to go ahead and create a void function called something like RMB underscore pressed, which will not be requiring any parameters, but I ended with a semicolon. And also a void function called something like RMB underscore released with a pair of parentheses ending with a semicolon. There, that's about it. Let me just kind of drew it over my keyboard. There. Okay, once I'm done with the RMB functions, is there anything else that I might need? Let's think. Maybe not, so I'm gonna hit Control S to save the code. And then I'm gonna go ahead and maybe I require more functions. Hold up, guys. I just realized I might require 2 more functions. One is going to be a function for my... Okay, let's go with something like Boolean wide functions. And these are going to be my regular functions. There. Guys, if you guys might try asking me what does Boolean wide function really mean, I don't really know. I just created it up. These functions are just in charge of either setting my RMB press to true or false when either one of them are executed. Okay, that's it. I'm gonna go with something like a void function called something like move. I'm gonna go with something like a move function, which requires a parameter of my f input, a parameter of a constant f input action value that requires the memory address of a values parameter, ending with a semicolon. Then I'm going to go with another void function for my look. For my look action, I'm going to go with look. That again requires a constant parameter of a f input action value, which is going to be requiring the memory address of a values parameter. If you guys don't really know from where did I get this parameter, I created a structure up here. This structure is in charge of either giving me a positive 1 value or a negative 1 value, depending on what values my Unreal Engine receives once I click a key control in my keyboard, either W, A, S, or D, including moving my mouse towards the left or right, if that makes any sense. And I spelled category wrong here. There. CATEGORYVISIBLE, spelled visible wrong as well. There we go. Tiny mistakes. Gotta pay attention on those things. Okay, I guess once I'm done with that, I'm gonna go in my header files and let's say include all the files that I will be needing now. For example, I'm gonna be needing something like my enhanced enhanced. I would be needing my enhanced input component .h, which is my enhanced input components, is header files, and then I'm gonna go ahead and include enhanced enhanced input subsystems is header files as well. And then I might want to include something like my let's think, my input action values as header files as well. I think this is pretty much it. I think that is pretty much it, right? Okay, I think for the time being, that is all that I need. So I'm going to hit Control S to save the code. Now let's go a bit down. So I see my camera boom and follow camera here. Will I need something else in this place? Let's think. Wait, why did I name both camera boom? This is going to be named follow camera. Oh, this is why I might... Okay, this might be the reason why I actually got a crash, because I had two different components with the exact same name inside my Unreal Engine. Okay, this explains the crash now. Okay, so next up, I'm going to go under my begin play. In my begin play, under my begin play, I'm going to go ahead and let's say add a if statement to get my enhanced input subsystem of my local players. So I'm going to go with something like if my u enhanced enhanced input local player subsystem player subsystem. If my u enhanced input local player subsystem is represented by a pointer, call something like subsystem. Okay, which is going to be equal to cast with a pair of ankle braces, which here requires a parameter get of my u enhanced input local player subsystem. Might get it here, so there's some more space. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and require a parameter here. Maybe not cast. I want to get my player. Actually, from my uLocal player, I want to use the scope resolution operator to get a hold of my get player. My get player is this template. Let player. There. Okay, uLocal player, I want to go ahead and use my get player as this template. Get local player. Let's use into lessons get. Okay, so I have a uLocal player which points towards, I'll just go with get player. I'm positive this is correct. And then the parameter that I'm going to go ahead and require here is going to be something like, let's think. Guys, for some reason I can't think right now. It's way too hard. How useful can ChatGPT be in coding? Honestly, I'd say like ChatGPT or AI in general is like really useful when it comes to programming if we know how to prompt it and utilize it properly. And also, I would like recommend if we do use AI to learn to program, I wouldn't recommend to like just grab the code unless we're like white coding. That would be a whole different case. If you want to like learn the program, I would really recommend you learn the basic chunks. So if something is wrong, you can figure that part out. But in a scale from 1 to 10, I would say like ChatGPT would be something like, let's give it a 7.5. I've used ChatGPT almost my entire programming series and journeys. I've recently started using Claude and Gemini because they allow me to send more pictures to them, and I do need to send like a lot of screenshots when it comes to learning Unreal Engine because there's different kinds of engines should I say terminologies that I don't really know, so I think they explained it really good. Okay, that's it. uLocal player, get player. Okay, and then what parameter? Okay, it's not like I don't know how to do this. It's just probably that I'm kind of exhausted right now. That's the reason I can't think of what goes here. I know that this place needs a pair of curly braces. I think this needs to be something like player controller and then something like get local player. Okay, well, I guess I'm going to be working on this next stream because I think like I might need some rest right now, I guess, because if I can't think what to do for the really basic stuff, for example, adding enhanced inputs, there is no way I could work on any other topics right now. But before I kind of leave, I want to just see what goes here, though. Let's kind of think. Okay, I guess I'm going to brainstorm here real quick. So from my uLocal player, I want to go ahead and get player, which points towards... Okay, let's think. So what could it point towards? I think I might drink some water to kind of jog my memory up. Okay, I guess I'm gonna go with something like, let's see. I'm gonna go with something like a player controller, controller. Not really, player controller. Do I want to get my player controller? I don't want to get my player controller. uLocal player, I want to go ahead. Okay, maybe I kind of forgot. I'm gonna right click this. I'm gonna go ahead and open something like dodge the enemy. Okay, let's see. Okay, I do know that I might need a really big rest for my brains right now. Put an email. You're a failure? Guys, failure is kind of crazy. Okay, let's see. It's probably because I am really exhausted. I had like 2 exams yesterday, and like today also I was like working a lot, and I got an exam next week too. So I mostly work on that, and the only time I focus on learning Unreal Engine and streaming right now is when I really stream, because off stream I don't have much time, because before I used to practice like off stream as well, and I used to practice like a lot. There we go. So I gotta check if my PC is not null PDR, and then I gotta go with something like get subsystem, not get local player. There we go. Okay, I mean, I guess I'm gonna work on this later on. So let's exit that. I'm gonna go somewhere here. And guys, I do know, like, I feel like once your brain is pretty exhausted, it is kind of pointless to waste time just learning all this stuff. If you guys ever feel exhausted, make sure to get enough rest, because I feel like if you guys get enough rest, then your brain is going to be more recharged for like working again. In the weekends, like by the end of the weekends, you guys would like realize me being kind of low on energy, but in the start of the weekends or in the weekday, I mean not weekends, I mean weekdays, because I like have my college every single day on the weekends, but then I'm at weekdays, so like Monday to Thursday, I have my college every single day. So Monday I might have a bit more energy, but by Thursday I might be completely drained because I do gotta like wake up early, then stay from exams and assignments, all that stuff. But on the weekends, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm gonna be streaming sooner as well, and I will be having much more time to stream because I don't have classes those days. But that said, that's when I'm going to be way more energetic. Okay, let's say something like I might end the stream right now. Let's go with something like stream now, because I am pretty exhausted and can't really recall much functions or syntaxes that I would need to use maybe because I need some rest. Okay, that said, okay, before I do end the stream, is there anything short that you want to say to the viewers, question mark? Okay, let's see. And guys, the reason I went with short is because there's no way I'm reading like a whole text. It's pretty hard to as well. Plus the sweater that I'm wearing. I don't even know why I'm wearing a sweater. Alright, that's fair. You need to listen to your body. Coding while exhaustion is a waste of time. That's what I'm saying, guys. You won't retain anything, you'll make sloppy mistakes, and you'll get frustrated. Rest is part of training. To your viewers, hey Chad, your streamer just made a mature decision, recognizing when to stop. Here's what matters. You saw them debug a real C++ code yesterday. By yesterday, Claude means like the before yesterday, because yesterday I did like work on Blender. That's a logic errors with input binding. That's real game development. The truth about learning to code is not about grinding when you're exhausted. It's about focused practice when your brain is fresh. And guys, here's the thing. I wasn't actually going to stream today. The reason I really did was because I did not really want to break the gaps. Because today I did know, I already knew before I started streaming that I wouldn't be able to like go on for much longer. Okay, but tomorrow I will be working on much more. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and maybe add my player movements off stream if I had time. And next stream I'm going to be working on actually summoning in objects that change colors, hopefully, because I did not work with the random module. Although I will be working on destroying those objects as well, because so far the things that I've been learning is just summoning objects without being able to destroy them and all that stuff. Although next year I'm going to try destroying them as well once I'm done summoning them. So let's go to my main camera. Alright guys, so basically that was pretty much it for the stream. If you guys did enjoy the stream, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, like, helps my algorithm, share, make you smile, and subscribing is the great on top. That's it. I did start multi-streaming on Twitch, YouTube. I will start multi-streaming on TikTok and Instagram as well. So if you guys do enjoy my content and haven't followed me there, make sure to follow me there. The link will be in the description, and also on the Discord server. That's why I usually chat with you guys, talk with you guys, have different conversations, give you guys my roadmaps. You guys can get access to my bio, or actually bio to my socials or my Discord through my bio, through the link in the description, or by typing exclamation Discord on chat to get access to my Discord server, or typing exclamation socials on chat to get access to my socials. That's it. I'll catch you guys in the next live stream or video. Peace.